Parents, welcome to Disciple Clips. Today we are excited to show you a little bit about this book, 50 Things Every Child Needs to Know Before Leaving Home, Raising Children to Godly Adults. And it's by Dr. Josh and Jen Mulvihill. This is one of the great resources that we picked up from the Kids Matter conference when we went last month. And we kind of want to just talk through some of the great things that this book has to offer. It's a great big book. It's designed really, its design is actually to be a keepsake for your child, and so we'll talk a little bit more about that, but it can be purchased for, I believe, $30. I'll post the link below to the Amazon page where you can see that if it's something that you're interested in after you hear kind of our take on it. Wanted to share with you sort of the why behind this book and kind of behind our whole reason for Disciple Clips. A 2019 Barna study shows that up to 64% of young people leave the church after the age of 18. So if you think about it, that's right at 2/3 of our children will leave the church after graduating high school. Now, of those 64%, about half of them do return to the church, and that typically takes place around childbearing years when they realize the weight that comes with raising children. But only about 20% of millennials currently believe that church attendance is important. And so we want to partner with you and with your family because we don't want this to be the case for our ECF kids. We don't want this to be the case for our families. We want to help you raise godly adults who truly internalize their faith and realize that it's not just a Sunday morning and Wednesday night thing, but this is a lifelong commitment to Christ. And so one of the main factors for raising godly adults who stick with their faith is just having the presence of parents who are actively engaged, having additional adults in their lives that have high expectations for them, and I think just realizing that your kids really want a close relationship with their parents, and so we're here to help you do that. But of course, raising godly children takes a lot of work. It's not something that's just going to happen passively as we sit on the couch and eat bonbons or drink our coffee or whatever. But God gives us parenting principles in the Bible, and we're here to help you kind of incorporate those into your everyday life. Let's see, what else? We just want our kids to be passionate about Jesus. We want them to grow up and live according to the Bible and to be spiritually mature adults who are emotionally, financially, intellectually secure in their faith. So
yeah, and the point of this book is to help you think through those things so that you can be intentional about the choices you make as a mom and a dad raising your kids, so that hopefully they will stick with Jesus and stick with the church, and how you can build that faith up in them along the way. I think all of us can agree that we do not have it all figured out, and parenting is probably the most humbling thing we'll ever do, and that's not a bad thing. That's just the truth, and that's just how it is. So having a plan can help you figure out what steps to take next. So we all want to succeed at parenting. No one wants to fail. No one wants to be unprepared. And so thinking through all of these areas of life can help us have a plan. It says, do you have a biblical, God-honoring parenting plan? Many people spend much more time and money on a family vacation than they do thinking about their parenting. And that's a little bit humbling for me.
That one hit me when I read that. It was like, most people spend more time planning their family vacation than they spend planning how they're going to parent. And I was like, oh, wow.
Yes.
That's true.
Yeah. Think about the spreadsheets you might make for a Disney trip and your grocery list for your vacation, all the things. And then we're just like, oh, I'll bring them to church on Sunday. I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah. So we'll let the church people take care of that part, and we'll check the box, but that's not how God intended it.
Yes. So we're talking to ourselves here as well. So being intentional, and hopefully the result is long-term fruit and a long-term relationship with Jesus for our kids.
Yeah, the way that this book starts off, the first 6 chapters are kind of what we just hit on, but obviously a lot deeper. And I have marked this thing up. I mean, it is full of highlighting, and some of it really kind of came as almost like a gut punch. I mean, my kids are now 19, one's about to get married. I've got a 16-year-old and a 10-year-old. So I'm kind of on the back end of adolescence. Lauren's got some
Mine are
ones.
10, 8, 6, and 4, so we're in the thick of it, and I'm
Yes.
humbled every day. So yeah.
But I showed this to my daughter who's about to get married. She was watching me make our notes for it, and she said, "Well, Mom, do I know all the 50 things?" And I said, "A lot of them." But let's see. I'm gonna share with you some of the things that are in here. Well, let me show you kind of what a chapter looks like. So this particular one is the child is trained to worship God through family worship, and I love that ECF does this because we include our kids in worship, and it is a teachable time for parents to train their kids to worship. But then it's got like some reflection pages, and so the idea is, as a parent, as you're going through this list, here it is. So 50 things at a glance. It's literally got check boxes, which I love because I love a to-do list. But as you're working through each of these, there's a portion that tells you more about it and how to go about it. And then of course your reflection. And so when your child is ready to launch from the nest, you could literally give them this book as a keepsake. And what a legacy that would be, and what an encouragement that would be to your adult children to say, wow, this is a lot of work that my parents put in. Like, they really had a plan. They were intentional. And hopefully that would encourage them to do the same with their own kids. But just to wrap it up, let me tell you a couple of highlights here. So a firm foundation, that's talking about training to worship God, baptized as a public expression of faith. The next area is Christ-like character development. So things like taught to understand suffering, gives and receives forgiveness, biblical beliefs and worldview. There's 5 points there. There's 5 points under each of these. Spiritual growth, life skills, knows how to care for a pet. Hey, we can check that one off. Like, that's one that we did. Knows how to responsibly drive and maintain a car. We're there. Like, that's where we are. Relational skills, work and money management, home management, knows how to cook simple meals. So it's very practical. It's not, just spiritual development. It is really like raising the whole child. So wonderful book. Highly recommend it. It's not too late, even for me, because maybe I can give this to Elena's soon-to-be husband and say, here's what we didn't do. Here are the boxes that didn't get checked.
Good
Have
luck
fun with that. But anyway, so let's tell them what's coming on tomorrow's post.
Okay, tomorrow our video will be for just the kids. I mean, parents, of course, you can watch too, but it's going to be kid-focused, and we'll be sharing a few ideas from this How to Read the Bible book, and we'll be showing your kids some interesting things that they can learn and do in their own Bibles.
And this will be a several-week
Yes.
process that we work through.
Right, we're going to go through it a few pages at a time. It'll be almost like story time. I'll just be showing them some pages and telling them about it, so you can sit them down in front of our YouTube and hit play and let me read them a story for a few minutes.